Montesquieu's liberty prevails through his spirit of law. In spirit of law, he had discussed law, the forms of law or the classes of law, and then different forms of government. And he had associated liberty with the form of government. His actual objective was to design or for searching of an ideal government that will provide maximum political liberty, and for that he associated liberty with different forms of government and law as well. So he did a thorough discussion on the liberty in spirit of law. In this clip we will take some concluding remarks about the conception of law liberty that was given by Montesquieu in spirit of law. In the Montesquieu distinguished between liberty and freedom. That's according to the Montesquieu. Liberty and freedom are not same. Liberty, or sorry, freedom means uh, right to do anything that you want to do. Well, liberty is not the same. Liberty is a freedom within the laws. That's if you are allowed to do whatever law permit is the liberty, and if you are allowed to do whatever you want is freedom. So the freedom is liberty is some sort of restricted freedom, and he favored that restricted freedom, liberty, because this could save the liberty of others and your liberty as well. Let's suppose if you are given a liberty without any restriction, then the same liberty will be given to your fellow being as well. In such case, there are possibilities that he will harm your liberty, and at the end of the day, both of you will lose liberty. So he said that the liberty should be under law, within law. So liberty is not anarchy. Liberty is not something that you are allowed to do whatever you want to do. Rather, liberty is some sort of restricted freedom. And now there another question emerges, that laws can too deprive people from liberty. Then what should we do? In such case, he proposed that laws must be of right kind. So only right kind of laws can protect your liberty, because they allow you to do right things only. So and it is a moderate government that can only enact such laws. Right laws can be made by a moderate government only, and moderate government is such a type of government in which powers are checked with the powers. That is, the separation of power is given. uh, in so he was saying that if the powers are separated, then uh, then liberty can be secured. He elaborate liberty as absolute liberty and relative liberty. Absolute liberty means unrestrained liberty. If there are no checks on the liberty, then such type of liberty is called absolute liberty, and this is not good, because at the end of the day this will nullify liberty, while relative liberty is the rational liberty, such a type of liberty that is within the laws, and that's good to protect liberty. He also differentiate between political liberty and civil liberty. On civil liberty he did very little, but he discussed, or he made a thorough discussion on political liberty. Political liberty connotes relations between state and subject, and it means the right of doing all that law permits. That's called the political liberty. And the political liberty cannot be secured in despotism, because in despotism political liberty is not secured, because under the despotic system of government, ruler is free to do anything, and this give him an overpowers to the ruler, and because of the unreasoned ambitions of the individual ruler under the despotism, political liberty is not possible. However, political liberty is not associated with any particular government, but it is possible only in moderate governments. Because in moderate governments, there's the division of power, there's the separation of power, and because of this, political liberty could be secured. Hence, we can say that for establishing political liberty, there should be checks on political authority, which is possible in only possible in moderate governments because of the separation of powers. Montesquieu's chief aim was to discover a government that will best secure political liberty because of its system of checks and balances. In all governments, there are three types of political powers: legislative powers, executive powers, and judicial powers, which maintain checks and balances. And if these powers are divided, if they are not united in some a single hand, or if under a group of people, then this can give you more liberty. Civil liberty grows out of relation of man to man, and that's the opposite of slavery and is closely associated with the law of nature. Montesquieu borrowed the concept of individual or civil liberty from John Locke, although he rejected the abstract Lockean notion of natural rights and natural justice. However, he borrowed the concept of individual liberty from John Locke. Thank you for joining. Take care. Goodbye.